The time has finally arrived, and it's now or never for Vegeta. Ladies and gentlemen, recently there are a lot of rumors circulating the Dragon Ball community as Uchida recently posted that there's going to be a big surprise coming in Dragon Ball Super Chapter 100. And if we also go back to the beginning of this Dragon Ball Super superhero arc, we see Vegeta looking up into the sky at Frieza, which was obviously making a reference to what had happened in the previous arc when Goku and Vegeta fought against Black Frieza extremely briefly. Both got wrecked, and Black Frieza is stronger than ever as he easily wiped out the main boss, Gas, without even trying, and of course Alec got some horrible fate as well. This leaves us with an ultimate question, a question that the Dragon Ball fanbase has been wondering for over a year since we previously spoke about this, and this is also something that the Dragon Ball community has been wanting and desiring for quite a while now. Going back to Resurrection of F, it's kind of hard to believe that it's almost a decade, but you get the point we're getting at here. Will Vegeta finally do it? Has the time finally arrived? And what can Dragon Ball fans look forward to with Vegeta in the future? Well, let's break this point down in many different forms. The first thing that we have to do is when talking about this big surprise, obviously based off of the fact that Black Frieza exists, we expect that the arc is going to go into this. Now when we consider the fact that Dragon Ball Daima is going to come out next year, a lot of people are thinking maybe Dragon Ball might merge into Dragon Ball Daima, so the Dragon Ball Super manga can kind of fuse into that, or whether or not it will go into its own separate continuity. Now, the thing is that with Frieza still existing in the Dragon Ball universe, we have to think about what this actually means. The problem with this, and the problem is actually a good problem in terms of storytelling, is that after the universe, or shall we say the Tournament of Power, where Universe 7 was successful in defeating Universe 11, and they brought back all of the previous characters, and obviously Frieza was spared because he fought valiantly for Universe 7, and Beerus, along with Whis, decided to give him basically a reward for his good deeds, and he was given a new life. Frieza has somewhat been in the background. Of course, we have Dragon Ball Super Broly, where Frieza did come to Earth, with Broly to obviously be his underling and try to take down the Saiyans, but this wasn't very successful because Frieza ended up killing Broly's dad, and Broly was on the verge of killing Frieza if Goku and Vegeta didn't come back to save Frieza, which sounds kind of funny saying Goku and Vegeta came back to save Frieza. But that's not really that shocking considering the fact that Goku technically saved Frieza's life 7 different times, and I made a whole video explaining this. But the point that we're trying to get at here is Frieza is alive, and Frieza was alive because of this. And because of Frieza's existence in the universe, we're kind of in this weird pseudo-space where it kind of feels like Frieza's Team Rocket, or it felt like Frieza was Team Rocket, in the sense where he's kind of like a recurring villain, but we're not really going after him, and he's not really going after us, because Frieza also spared Goku and Vegeta too, when he fought them briefly at the end of the Granola Gas arc, the Granola the Survivor arc, if you want to call it by its more official name for all of you weeaboos that want me to be extremely technical with my exact wording. So, for all of that said, that leaves us in this space where, because Frieza's still alive, is Dragon Ball going to try to tie into what we're expecting, where we're eventually going to go into the arc where Goku is going to train with Oob, and as a result of this ultimately means that Frieza kind of has to die in order for everything to ultimately tie up the way that it's supposed to, because going back to the original Dragon Ball manga and the original Dragon Ball anime, Frieza was dead at the end of the Buu arc, which technically takes place after, or should I say the Buu arc? Should I say at the end of Z more specifically, Frieza was supposed to be dead. Now, because of this, we are going to assume that Frieza should stay dead because he's supposed to be dead because the writing was originally going into that direction. So we kind of have to tie up all loose ends and Frieza has to die all over again. Now this brings up a big question. If Frieza is really this powerful, there's something that we have to factor in here. He's been doing a lot of training. Frieza is an extremely intelligent character, and he has really prepared for this because he trained for 10 years in his own version of the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, And when you factor that in, guys, you have to consider the fact that he easily defeated Goku and Vegeta. Now, of course, I mean, that wasn't a very serious fight, but you also have to factor in that it's very possible that Frieza was not fighting at 100% power, which means that Goku and Vegeta might train to defeat Frieza, but they may not even be self-aware of how powerful Frieza really is because they can't successfully gauge at this. Because of this, and also because of the fact that Frieza's not directly fighting our heroes at the moment, it's very likely that Goku and Vegeta, along with the other characters, can do their own thing, and they won't really get involved. Now, you have to also factor in that with the Dragon Ball Superhero arc that recently took place, Gohan and Piccolo recently got major power-ups. And then when you also factor in that Broly is also significantly stronger than what he was before, you have 5 really strong characters on the side of Universe 7. And the question is, will all of these characters have to somehow fight together in order to take Frieza down? And will Frieza even bother with them? Is Frieza going to continue to be a character that just exists within the Dragon Ball universe, but is no longer a direct threat? There are a lot of questions in regarding this, but considering the fact that Vegeta was looking up into the sky, a lot of us would believe that this might be a case where our heroes are going to have to fight Frieza once again. And because of this, guys, I feel like we're going to have to tie up all loose ends. And one thing might happen in the Dragon Ball community that the fan base has been hyping up for longer than a year at this point, which is the entire concept of Ultra Ego fusing with Ultra Instinct. Now, from a stylistic point, this would be really weird because they have totally different designs where Goku's kind of just like in his base form, but he has like silver here. And then Vegeta kind of gets the Super Saiyan 3 treatment of like he loses his eyebrows, but then his hair turns purple and he has like this really aggressive look to him. Because of this, the fusion of Goku and Vegeta into Ultra Ego Instinct Gogeta / Vegeta, which would most likely be Gogeta because they would need airings for Vegeta, and you already know how they're always going to make an excuse every time the airings don't work out. That's something that a lot of fans will be saying maybe that will actually be required to fight against Frieza, but what you also have to factor in is this is an ongoing trope that has happened with Dragon Ball for years now, where fusions are not allowed to win in Dragon Ball. And this is a future video that we can talk about in a separate discussion. But fusions aren't allowed to win. Fusions never win in the main story. They only work in minor arcs that nobody cares about, or they work in movies that are self-contained, where at the last few minutes of the movie you can fuse and defeat the main guy. But in terms of just having a casual fusion and then just defeating the enemy, it just never works because fusion is an overpowered ability and it doesn't give the story good justice of we just overpowered our opponent by just fusing and just killing him like that. For a movie where you can make our characters struggle for the first 80% of the film and then they can come into the last few minutes and kill the villain or defeat the villain, that feels a little bit more natural in terms of the direction of the story. But for a main arc, it just feels a little too overpowered to just have one character just come in and completely dominate, unless you can make the fused character not that much stronger than the villain, which could obviously be the case in this situation, and they would probably have to do that. Now, the ability of Ultra Instinct Ego, because I don't know what we would call it, so I'm just going to simplify and say Ultra Gogeta or Ultra Vegeta. The interesting thing is when you combine the two natures of what we would say from alien, shall we say, the angels, when it comes to having that whole divine Ultra Instinct kind of fighting style combined with what Beerus is teaching Vegeta with God of Destruction Energy, we have a very interesting contrast with those two different fighting styles. And as a result of it, I feel like the fused counterpart, and we should say the final product of that fusion, would be an obvious eye candy for Dragon Ball fans to see this. And when we also consider the fact that Vegeta is training so hard to use destructive energy, using destructive energy would be perfect on a character like Frieza in this instance, where you just want to completely eviscerate him. But this creates a problem. It just doesn't seem like, based off of the writing history that Toriyama and Toyotaro have given Vegeta, and also considering the fact that Goku is the main character, and also considering the fact that Frieza is so powerful, guys, I just don't see any way that Vegeta's gonna pull this off. Now, a lot of you may disagree with me, and a lot of you You know, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, guys, but I just feel like the writing is on the wall that this isn't going to work. I just feel like Frieza, if he really is the next major threat, is just going to be so powerful that he's going to require a lot more than just Vegeta. And for Vegeta fans to think that he's just going to somehow get all the shine and everybody's going to sit off to the side when they literally just made a movie about Gohan and Piccolo, and then Goku's also training alongside him to perfect his own version of Ultra Instinct since he no longer wants to use the controlled Master Ultra Instinct form, it just seems unlikely that out of these characters plus Broly that Vegeta's just gonna shine above all of them just because the plot wants him to. I feel like him looking up into the sky may have been foreshadowing to all of this, but at the end of the day, it just doesn't seem like a character like Frieza's gonna go down just like that. But then again, I mean, look at how Resurrection F went, but then again, that was also a movie that was stretched into an arc, so they kind of had to follow the script to some degree, even though they made some changes. But ultimately, guys, that is my ultimate take for today. I think it's now or never for Vegeta. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe, and remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.